Welcome back to Folger Adventure Crew. My name is Voss, and today we are going to be working in my shop. It's been a busy couple of months. You guys probably seen this shop. I had this, but now I expanded the side of it, and that's where all my tools are going to be when I'm done putting everything away. So I got some tire machine. The lift is accessible. I can walk around it now. I have some pavement in there. Don't mind that Comanche. That's a separate side project, not mine. But today what we're going to be doing is ever since Hellhole, we came back and I noticed that my 4x4 wasn't working too well. And if I spin my drive shaft, and both axles are actually disconnected right now, so nothing's spinning the ring gear when I'm driving because I have a axle disconnect. But if I'm spinning my yoke, I have a hard spot. Yeah. So when we opened the front diff, I noticed that I have some broken teeth on my 538 gears. It's been 3 years and I've been on 37s, so time to swap the gears out. I'm still staying with 538s on this Jeep because of its weak motor and big tires. So that's going to be one thing we're going to be doing, is changing the gears out, and I'm going to put some new rubber on. So my idea is to have a winter set and a summer set. So the winter set is going to be KO2s, even though these are bald. I do have a spare set laying around. But for the summer, I got some True Summer tire, which are a set of used Mickey Thompsons. So hopefully they're all straight and not destroyed. They were used, but not too bad used. So I'm gonna jump on taking the wheels off, rolling them over to the tire machine, because these are beadlocks. It is a big pain in the butt to work on them, but with the machine it might be a little bit easier to work on it. So, and then I gotta do the gears. So I got the tires off. Ever since I built these beadlocks on these stock Jeep spares, or they're Gladiator basically. They're like stock Gladiator, the basic Gladiator wheels. I welded some Metal Innovation beadlocks rings to it. I want to see what they'll do on the balancing machine, because I know my wheels are jumping all over the place. I just want to see how bad these wheels are on the balancing machine, because I never balanced them, because most tire shops will not touch your beadlocks. So let's throw them on the machine, see how many grams it's off. My machine is Chinese, so it does everything in grams, not in ounces, but I do have plenty of stick-on weights that we can try to maybe balance my beadlocks. That's unheard of, but especially when I put those Mickey Thompsons, I believe there's no way that they'll be able to ever balance. All right, let's get them in here and try it out.
Хочу проверить, how bad are they?
So I got it on the machine, and on the machine I need to make sure after I turn it on how we're gonna have it. We're gonna try to do that kind of weights. Okay, let's go. Disc diameter, I believe, is 7, but let me measure it. It is 8. So this thing is showing me what the width of the rim is. So I have 8-inch rim. Yep, 8. Now I'm gonna go, how much is my back spacing to the rim is, that's pretty much 6. So 6.0, and diameter is 17. All right, let's see how bad it is. Ooh, this thing is egged out. Look how it's jumping. So 200 grams on one side and 265 grams on the other side. So 200 grams, so just to give you perspective, one of these is 7 grams. So I gotta stack like probably like a ½ an inch of these weights in order to balance these bead locks, which we know we're not doing. So I'm just gonna throw them on the machine and start taking them off basically the bead lock. That's gonna be fun. Well, we got the ring off. Now we just gotta pop it off the bead on the back side and pry it off of here. Shouldn't be too hard. All right, all the bolts are in. Let's put some air in it and throw it on the balancer and see if it's any worse than it was. Because that will tell me if it's gonna ride any worse than it was already driving. Because freeway 70, was about it with all the vibration. So if I can do 65, it should be good. Should be good. All right, with this tire, inner is now 285, outer's 300. With the previous tire, we were 265 and 200. So this one's gonna be a little worse than it was. So that's pretty crazy. Let me try again. Yeah, the ring is way out of balance. That's the problem with these homemade build locks. You can't get them perfectly straight like a factory rim. So, bead like life. What are you gonna do? So, all right, let's build a couple more and we'll get to it. But what I'm gonna do, since I got one done, I'm gonna put my son, when he comes back from wherever he's at, and gonna put him on bead locks because it's a dirty, boring job. I gotta start tearing apart the front axle so we can throw some new gears in it. Here's our pinion. It got 1 tooth, 2 tooth. Yeah, this pinion is junk. Just gotta check all the bearings. On the ring gear, we got 1, 2. Yeah, we got 2 teeth missing. Other than that, it's all good. So something didn't like something. So now it's a long process of taking all the bearings off and throwing it back in. All right, we got everything out from the housing. And this time we're going with Elite gear and axle, just because I couldn't get the Revolutions for a decent price. So we'll try these out. If these fail, then we'll have to go with Yukons. But Yukons are just a bit expensive. We'll see how long these last. That's Revolution, Elite, we'll see. See what happens. Okay, we got the ring gear on. Everything's looking good. I'm gonna clean the locker actuator and start putting it in on here. So far so good. Mark is working on getting the wheels ready for me to use the machine to change the beads, throw new tires on there, and have him repeat the process of putting all 32 bolts on each wheel back. So it's a long day. Later on, and next time I'm working on my Jeep, we'll be putting those internals in it to make it a stroker. All right, we got the new pinion and the bearings on. So everything is on. We can start the assembly of the locker. And hopefully it will do a good pattern and last another 3-4 years. But with these big tires, well, they're still 37s, except they're just mud terrains, super greepy. I'm hoping to go do a little shakedown on one of the local trails here that are pretty tough. So we'll see what we accomplish and see what we do. Got it in. We got a little bit of a play in it, in the system. So let's run the pattern. What the heck, you know? Whatever it is, I'm gonna have to run it. That one's in the center, and this one's in the center. So yeah, I never had a bad luck with the M210s and M220s yet. I've done like 4 sets already, and they usually tend to use the factory shims all the way around, and they go within spec from 410 to 538, and yeah, it shows it. It's right in the center. I'm using factory shims all the way around. All right, let's put this axle back together. Mark's almost done with all the tires, so tomorrow we'll probably put all the tires on and see how it goes. Yay. All right, it's getting late, but we have the gears changed in this axle. All we got left is to remount 3 more tires, and this little upgrade is done. On the back, I have installed hydraulic bump stops, and I need to tighten those up. They're loose on both sides, but they're really cool. We've been testing them on Bowman, going through all kinds of whoops, and we did pretty good. The shocks are not sliding all the way down and not bottoming out. So those are pretty good 2-inch bump stops. So next we'll be doing modification I need to put hydraulic bump stops in the front. Kind of getting it ready for basically King of the Hammers for next year, and anything that I can do, just, you know, have a comfortable drive on the bumpy roads. And if I catch a whoop or two, it'll hold in there pretty good. So, all right, we'll see you in the morning. New beautiful afternoon, just finished with work. We got one tire on the Jeep, and today I think what I'm gonna do is install the front bump stops. So these bump stops I got on Chinesium Alibaba website. These are similar to Rough Country's bump stop, and they're gonna go up in the front just like I have them in the rear. So I gotta do some modifications, but I kind of like them in the rear. They're working real nice up here. So time to do the fronts so I can bomb even faster through some bumpy roads and whoops, because right now my bump stops are just hard plastic, and when I land it's actually destroying this one right there. But it's really stiff when it lands. But with the hydraulic bump stop, the nice thing about it is you have this 2 inches of cushion, so it adds like a very stiff shock absorber. So when you land, it basically smooths out your landing. And with the running 2.0 Foxes, this thing rides already good, but we want it to ride even better. So let's get that done today. So this Saturday we can go test it out with new gears and some new upgrades on the suspension. Okay, we got the suspension down, we got the shocks disconnected, and now the coils are pretty loose in here. We're being held by the track bar and the steering. This spring is a little loose and wonky. That's the problem with solid axle, is with the track bar, it pulls it, when it droops, it pulls it off to the side. So see how it's misaligned right there? But what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the springs out and we're gonna cut the shock locations off, and we're gonna put new plates up top. But it's been day 2 of Mark assembling the wheels. Is it fun, Mark?
No.
Would you want to have some beadlocks?
No.
It's all right. As a hand-me-down, they'll most likely make it to you one way or the other, or your brother. But all right, let's get the vehicle down and pull the coils out. So the kind of weak spot on these Jeeps is this mounting structure here. On mine, it already caved in multiple times. So if I'm gonna put a bump stop right here, like this one, it's all crooked because this keeps bending. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut the top of it off, find the thickest metal I have, probably like 3/16, maybe quarter, and I will weld it up in here and have a hole through it for the bump stop to go through. So that will be my plan of attack. and then we'll have a new bracket here. I just need to make sure that it's level when I cut it. So I'm gonna pull the rest of the shocks out so they're not in the way of me cutting, welding, because the shocks are pricey. Alright, we got that cleaned up, and now we're just gonna have to run a 2 5/8 to accommodate the housing for the bump stop. Whew, with the so much shrapnel flying around, I have to put a jacket on, welding gloves, welding mask, but we got the hole done. So now I just need to measure out the piece that I need to weld on the bottom, clean all the paint around it, and start welding on this side. Then we'll jump on the other side. Well, we got one of the bump stop mounting brackets in. Now I just have to let it cool off a little bit, clean this thing, and we can throw it up on the Jeep and weld it to the Jeep all the way around. So that will be the reinforcement of spring basically going up and stuff. So kind of forgot to clean the galvanizing on the bracket, so now it looks ugly. So the other one I'll clean it and we'll weld it in, make it look nice. Alright, I got the Jeep into full bump, but that doesn't mean that that's the bump of the tires. This is just a physical bump. So this one is missing it this way, that's why I was hitting it like that. And the other one is pushed out. So at full bump, our axle is shifting passenger. At full droop, it's shifting driver. So right now is what I need to do is get it lined up to where my bump stop is landing right on this right now. So, and I gotta measure what my shock loops are, because I know what that shock can be fully compressed. So we usually have 4.5 inches of up and down travel is where I like to sit on it. So we'll see. It's just setting up, playing games and getting it right. So right here, as you can see, I got about 1.5 inches, and I got almost 2 inches on the shaft. So my previous bump stop didn't let me go past this. As you can see, this is all dirty. So I'm gonna have to use this from now on to kind of test it, where we're gonna land later on. But so far, it's looking pretty good on this side. Now repeat on the other side. So we'll see when I get that done. I got the second side done. Shock is in. So I gotta take the shocks off, put the coils in, but before I do that, I gotta spray some black paint on that so it doesn't rust on me. So, yep. We can put it down on the ground, maybe drive down to the lower property, flex it out a little bit just to see if we're hitting bump stops anywhere or not, or if the new tires are rubbing more than the other tires used to be. So let's assemble it and get it out testing. So we got the springs in, shocks are bolted, everything's good to go. I am not hooking up sway bars because I'm about to put some gear oil in the front axle and take it out of the garage and go down to the bottom of my property. I got a few good spots to flex it out, check where the wheels are rubbing, if the bump stops are doing their job. I can't check the whoops effect, but we'll check that out this weekend when we go out to have some fun. But that looks so much better now. Even though that bump stops look crooked, they are level when the axle comes down to the bump stop is when it's landing. So I hope it's not gonna break them, but we'll see. If I break them, just get another pair. They're not that expensive on Alibaba. Yeah, probably Amazon's gonna have them on sale soon too, so all China stuff makes its way to Amazon. Well, I got the Jeep out of the shop. This thing looks proportionally cool now. We're ready to hit some trails. Boom. All right, let's go into the woods, see how it's gonna look over there, and flex it out a little bit. We're in the beautiful nature now with the views like that and the views like that. That's why I like living up here. So here we are now. This tire rubs quite a bit now on my flat fenders. We still got about an inch of compression on the bump stop, and we got about 1.5 inches on the shock. So if I want to keep running tires like this, I need to change the angle of my fender, but that's a different problem right now. So let's see here. Yep, we are flexed out, and Zadok is not, and the back is not flexed all the way yet. So I think this will do until we get 12-inch shocks or coilovers. This is gonna do just fine. All right, let's get back to the shop. All right, we got the tires and the front suspension upgraded, front axle replaced the ring gear, and now I just gotta drive it around, do the braking procedure on the gears, and then we'll be good to go to hit some trails. This thing's looking sexier on the big tires. All right, tune in next week as we going to install a fancy light bar that I'm putting together with some pod lights. Here's a sneak peek of the lights. So tune in next week. We'll show you what kind of light bar we can build.